Is Danang still the city for you in 2025, or has the city changed too much? I lived through the changes, the higher prices, surging tourism, more construction. I will tell you exactly what's awesome about the city, what's changed, and whether this is the right city for you in 2025. Stick around. So first of all, guys, let's get straight into the topic. Is Danang the perfect city for 2025, or has the changes been too drastic? So I love Danang. It's one of the longest cities I've ever lived in my life. Besides my hometown city of Vallejo, California, where I lived for probably 35 plus years. I also lived in San Francisco, California for about 6 years when I went to college, a little bit before and a little bit after. Danang is the third longest city that I've lived in. I've been here for nearly 2 years. Basically, I got here back in 2023, and it's now the middle of 2025, July. I did take a 4-month hiatus and went back to the USA during 2024. And basically, I've lived here practically ever since. But I will tell you there is some clear changes. Now, whether these changes will persuade you to either not come to Danang in 2025, or if they're not big enough discouragements for you guys to not come and stay here in Danang, is the question for you guys to answer at the end of this video. So, like I said, the big changes are going to be things that I've drastically noticed. These changes have changed probably in the past 6 to 8 months, probably October, November of 2024, I noticed a big shift in the city of Danang. First of all, back then, there was hardly any Western tourists. You would occasionally see some Eastern Europeans, some Russians, and every once in a while you'd see an Australian or a European citizen. But even until now, there's not that many American citizens. I'm one of the rare few that I run into. Now, I'm lucky enough that I have about 3 American friends out here that I constantly deal with. 2 other guys, Dale and Mark. They're both from the USA, so it's good to have kind of a United States connection out here. But overall, the biggest majority of tourists that I see out here, like I said, are Canadians, Australians, UK. That's primarily what you're gonna find. Back in 2023, they were harder to find, but now it was such a drastic change from the year 2023. Danang has always been known for a city to cater and host Korean travelers. So ever since we've been coming here for almost the past 2 years, Koreans dominated the tourism market here in Danang. So basically, anytime you would go somewhere, you would always see Korean tourists. Outside my building, you would see Korean tour buses dropping off 1, 2 bus loads full of Koreans. So one day, it was crazy. It was almost like a light switch. One day in December, I noticed all the Koreans that were down at the local spots always every day. I didn't see them anymore. I didn't see the buses showing up. I didn't show anything like that. All of a sudden, the very next day it seemed, it was like a light switch. All of a sudden, Western tourists filled the positions of the Koreans that disappeared. And ever since then, the Western tourists have been here. And I've noticed them definitely 50% or more Western tourists here now than there was before. That's been kind of the biggest change, is the demographics. But myself, that's a budget traveler, the biggest thing that I've noticed is rental prices and cost of living, as far as rental, hotel, and accommodation prices have definitely went up. I'm lucky I locked in this great deal because I negotiated and I dealt directly with the landlord. But overall, everyone's apartment prices that I kind of come into contact with are all definitely going up. So that is something that you guys are gonna need to think about. So guys, if you guys are into saving money while traveling, hit that subscribe button. I break down the real costs, the hidden gems, and how to travel smarter and cheaper. So hit that subscribe button, don't forget. For example, our buddy Dale, he just moved out of this Western Beach tourist area. I think he was paying close to $8 million a month for a studio. And he just recently moved over towards Lynn Visa, over towards the river area more. And now he's getting a 1 bedroom for 6.8 million. So this main tourist area is definitely seeing expanding prices and rentals, accommodations, apartments, condos, wherever you guys want to stay, those prices are going to go up. Now, I have my own personal belief on why that is. I'll share it with you guys.
No, God, please, no, no!
I believe there's so many first-time Western tourists coming into the city of Danang, and they either don't care or they don't know what the regular rental prices are. So what's happening is these guys are coming from the United States or Canada. For example, they're coming from San Francisco, they're coming from Toronto, they're coming from Miami, Boston, one of these larger cost of living cities, right? And what they kind of regulate or justify in their mind is, hey, I pay for a studio back in Boston and it's $1,800, $2,000 a month. Man, this place in Danang is only $900. What a great deal, right? 50%. But what they don't know is these accommodations, probably the month or two before, were $400, $300. So these guys are severely overpaying. Now what happens is, you guys might think, oh, okay, well, no big deal, that guy just pays, right? Oh, well, that's his loss. No, it affects the overall market because now these landlords are only looking for that golden unicorn of those type of tourists to come to the city of Danang so that they can rent to those guys. So the landlords don't want to rent to people like me or budget conscious travelers. So what they do is they hold out. Maybe they might not rent their apartment out for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and they let it sit because they're hoping for Mr. Moneybags that's coming from Toronto or Boston or Miami. And they're holding out and they're saying, hey, I know this place is only $300 last month, but I'm gonna hold out for 900. I can hold out for a few months because if that guy comes here and rents the place for $900, I've just made 3 months of the rent in 1 month. So that is definitely affecting it. On the counter side, I haven't noticed cost of living prices such as restaurants, food, produce, stuff like that. I have not noticed it going up. Barely in the sense of eggs. I do get eggs once a week or twice a week, depending on how many eggs we eat here. And eggs have been pretty steady over the past year and a half. They were always right around $1, about 25,000 VND for 10 eggs. Recently, I've just been kind of blown away at seeing egg prices skyrocket from 25,000 to it modestly went up to about 28,000. And then every other place shot it up to 30,000. Currently, right now, they're about 33,000 VND for 10 eggs, which when you break down the scope of thing, it's maybe 25 cents. Instead of being $1 for 10 eggs, it's about $1.25 for 10 eggs. But that's a 25% increase. And this just happened like over a month and a half. And it's not just me. Other expats that live here have noticed the price in eggs. They ask me, where do you get your eggs at? Wow, did you notice the price in eggs? So that's kind of the only thing as far as cost of living in the sense of non-rental prices that I've noticed going up. But as far as restaurants, we go to the same restaurants that we've been going to for a year or more. Our restaurant prices are still the same. Our meat prices are still the same. Everything is still the same in that aspect. So cost of living only went up in the sense, in my opinion, in rental accommodation prices, hotels, apartments, condos, stuff like that. Now, when I say that they went up, in reality, they probably went up anywhere from $40 a month to maybe $100 a month, depending on what apartment or hotel that you're looking at. So in the grand scope of things, $40 to $100 extra for this great, amazing city, when you think about it, is not that much. But for someone that's been here for a long time like me, I did notice it. So the two things that I've noticed right off the bat, like I said, the first one was surging tourism, especially Western tourism. The second biggest thing, maybe first for some people, is the cost of living as far as accommodation goes. Now, the third thing, which any of you planning a trip to Danang in the next 60 days? Well, don't hesitate to book a 30-minute video consultation with me to settle in smoothly. During this call, I'll provide personalized advice and answer any of the questions you have about traveling or living in Danang. So don't hesitate. The link is in the description below. You can't really blame the city, but it is more construction / more developing of the city. Now, as the city grows and develops and gets more popular, obviously things are gonna have to get built. There's hotels that are being built constantly every day out here. I'm lucky enough that I'm way up at the top of the building that I don't hear any of this construction. So nothing blocks my view. I don't have any constructions in front of me that's really hampering my view or anything like that. So I haven't really ran into that problem, which is good in my aspect. But I know a lot of guys. The guy that I mentioned earlier, Dale was staying at a studio that was just a few blocks from here, maybe 3 or 4 blocks from the beach, and he had a construction site to the right of him, to the left of him, and behind him, which is part of the reason why he left his area and went to a more secluded area. Our buddy Mark, same thing. Mark only lived a few blocks away from him, and he was affected by new construction being built here too. But like I said, there's nothing you can do about that. The city is developing. They think that this city is gonna grow and be a tourism hotspot, basically. So those are kind of the downsides. I don't know if they're enough to persuade people to not come here. In my opinion, this is still one of my favorite cities in the world, and it's definitely still the best bang for your buck city that I can find. I've been to 20 countries, 10 in Asia, 9 in Europe, Mexico, and to this day, I have never found overall better value for a better city than Danang. So for me, the problems, the construction, slightly higher cost of living, more tourism, is not a deterrent for me to go find another city. Whether that happens down the road, I'm not sure. I can't predict the future. But as far as staying here for 2025, I don't see myself leaving. This is probably my ideal situation. And I think for a lot of you guys, I think this is probably still your best choice. A lot of people are gonna get mad and say, stop telling the secret about Danang. Well, guys, the secret about Danang is over. And I don't believe in this. I have this basketball that my mom gave me, and I'm not gonna let none of you kids play. Like, I don't believe in the philosophy of trying to hide things. Good cities will be found. For example, if no one did videos on Bangkok, do you think Bangkok would be this remote, tiny little place? No, it wouldn't. And if you think that someone like me, a small YouTube channel, is creating and changing the economy of Vietnam, I think you guys are wrong. But that's for another episode. Anyways, my opinion is this is still the best bang for your buck city. I live on an extremely tight budget, like I mentioned several times in the past. I don't have any actual consistent form of income. I left the United States with 1 year of cost of living saved up. And I said, guess what? Whatever happens in Vietnam is gonna happen. I basically went to the casino and rolled the dice. Luckily, I became monetized back in September of 2024. And I've been able to stay afloat, not breaking even yet, but hopefully in the next couple months, maybe the channel will turn around. I do want to thank you guys so much for subscribing. We just crossed over 7,500 subscribers. The goal for me is to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and only I can get there with your guys' help. So please help me out. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe button. It really does help us. It pushes the channel through the algorithm. And let me know in the comments if these downsides or changes at least are enough to persuade you guys from not coming to Danang in 2025. Let me know in the comments. And once again, happy travels.